Damn, I love the fact we have an intro right at the beginning of the show.
Awesome.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite geeky podcast. That's right. You are watching or listening to, if you're listening to us after the fact, the Geek Boutique podcast for January 26th, 2023. We've got some guests on the show today, but you know, first of all, my compadre, Mr. Messiah Complex Cosplay, Mr. Jeff, how are you doing in that fantastic mustache?
Well, there's been a theme the last maybe month on the podcast where there's been a huge focus on my facial hair. It's just the mustache and goatee, guys. There's bigger and better things. There's bigger and better things to talk about on today's podcast. So,
well, today we are going to be talking about cosplay, specifically cosplay on a budget. Now, obviously, we've got Mr. Rob the Bad Guy back. Rob doesn't know how to cosplay on a budget. Rob is like a...
I try.
You know,
I was going to say he probably has a budget. Does he stay within it?
Yeah, no. You know, Rob is that guy. And Canadian Comic Cutie, the queen of budget cosplays. How are you doing, Cutie?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be back. It's about damn time.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been here since like last year.
Sorry, can we pull out her throne? I'm so sorry. I had no idea. The queen has returned.
You're welcome.
Before we get started, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. First of all, if you are watching us here live on YouTube, and you haven't already given us a follow, or you haven't liked this video yet, what the hell? What are you doing? Give us a like. It's completely free. Same with the follow. It costs you absolutely nothing. And if you click the notification bell, it'll always make sure to notify you when we either go live or upload a new video. We're going to have a bunch of videos, by the way, coming, guys, in the next little while. We are working on more content. We want to, you know, take ownership of the YouTube channel back and put some more stuff out for you guys. So keep an eye out for that. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Podbean or Google Podcast or whatever platform, thank you very much. Make sure you give us a follow as well. Go check us out on Podbean. geekboutique.podbean.com. Leave us a message there. Let us know that you're actually listening to us. It is a mouthful. geekboutique.podbean.com. You know, I'm going to have to re-edit this whole video at the end because, you know, I just cannot do this. There's a bunch of people watching us live on YouTube right now, talking and saying hi. Guys, Michael is there. Noah's there. I don't know why he switched account back to Freakish. Keith is here. Rob is in the chat. Guys, watch out. Rob, the bad guy, is in the chat.
I'm a keyboard warrior.
Keyboard warrior. And producer Jen and Mr. Groot in London, Steve Jones, is also in the chat. We've got an announcement today. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to tell you right away. I'm going to tell you in just a minute. But before I do tell you, and I said this on our pre-show, Technical Difficulties Live on Instagram, thank you so much to everybody that's pre-ordered your Strange New World badges. The batch is almost ready to go. You know, any kind of support you guys give us is always so appreciated. And we're having a Star Trek day at Toronto Comic Con. So, I mean, if you don't already have a Star Trek costume, just get one and order a badge. Actually, there's only one badge left, guys, from this batch. Like I said earlier on the pre-show, there is one science badge left. After that, we're done for this batch. Next batch, they're actually going to be resin cast. They won't be 3D printed anymore.
Did I get in on this batch?
You did. You got a Section 31 badge. Although, you know, yeah, that one's not quite ready yet.
No problem. We got time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time still.
It's not that far away.
It's not.
It's not that far away, especially when you consider that the big announcement, guys, and I'm sure a lot of people figured this out already. That's right. We're going to spill the beans. We got a booth at Toronto Comic Con 2023. Geeks and Company will be back officially with a booth. We don't have any details yet. We don't know where exactly we're going to be. We do have one. Yes. So as of this year, for the first time, I think ever, Toronto Comic Con is actually going to be held in the North Building.
Indeed.
So Toronto Comic Con is no longer going to be in the South Building. We're like, I don't know about in the future, but this year, Toronto Comic Con is in the North Building. So Yeah, I don't know why, but I like the idea because it's right there on Front Street. You know, it's easy access. The hotel is right there. I mean, I think it's a great, great idea. And there's multiple floors
Yeah.
in the north building as well. So they could do a lot there. It should be a good time. As soon as we know more details as far as where we're going to be, we're going to let you know. All we do know so far is we are getting a 10 by 20 booth like we did at Fan Expo. Freaking Toronto Comic Con
We're doing it again.
again.
That's what she said.
We're back to Toronto Comic Con for the first time.
Well, I mean, with a booth.
Yes.
True.
With a booth.
True.
I didn't think we were going to get a booth. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of worried that with the show being half the size of the show, that they weren't going to have space for, little old us. So I'm really, really, really happy that we got a booth. It'll be exciting to see who else is in that area where we're going to be.
Yep.
I'm going to let them spill those beans. Yes. Let's see here. A lot of people are saying congrats. Steve's saying congrats. Jordan is on the stream saying congrats. Freakish saying awesome. Tanith. What's up, Tanith? So yeah, Victoria. Whoa, that's a twist. Well, I don't know if it's
a twist,
but it's sure gonna be a fun time. Ed is on. I'd like to swap, except it's farther from Steam Whistle. It is. Now it's like a 20-minute walk from Steam Whistle.
What are you gonna do?
But
I have to forge new traditions.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to go to the Loose Moose instead because that's literally across the street. So
chicken and waffles, the Dirty Bird, Loose Moose, cannot recommend highly enough.
Oh yeah,
I do
that
like
whole phrase right there.
I do like me a Dirty Bird. Not gonna lie. So, yep. Yeah. Sir. Yep.
So yeah,
Anyway,
so that's the big announcement. So should we also spill some more beans? I mean, I think we've already announced what we were doing for cosplays, right? So we might as well reiterate it while we're at this.
Yeah.
Friday is obviously Star Trek Day, officially Star Trek Day. We're gonna try to do something. I hope we're gonna be able to do something Star Trek special at the booth on top of us all being in Star Trek gear.
Nerds.
What's that? Nerds, yes, much nerds. Saturday.
The special thing we'll talk about next week because next week will lead right into the special thing that we're talking about. Safe to say on Friday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea, actually. Yeah. Saturday is gonna be Predators, and then Sunday is DC Day. So we're gonna have Batman and another potential guest, which reminds me. Forgot to download the damn video. hang on. How about you guys talk up what your plans are here?
So Saturday, they're going to do Predators. We're going to have an audio set up. I'm going to be on the microphone. I'm also going to be cosplaying a guy giving away free hugs. So I'm going to have a free hug sign. And I'm just going to, because I mean, when they're in their Predators, I'm like a wallflower basically. So I figure I'll just hand out free hugs while they're doing that. But I'll also be on the stick, getting people to come over to the booth and get pictures of the Predators and all that kind of jazz. And then, Sunday DC Day again. I know we did Sunday DC Day at Fan Expo, but you all saw how huge that was. So we're asking you to come out again as your DC cosplay on Sunday, make a big event like we did at Fan Expo. And as soon as we know exactly where we're located, we will let you know, and you will have the choice. We're in a 10 by 20 booth again, too, guys. It is going to be a big booth, so you should not have a problem finding us. That's for sure. So we won't be on a corner this time. We will be like in amongst the rabble. So Jeff on the stick. Listen, Michael, you settle down over there, young man. All right, you just
we don't exactly really know what. Like you're saying, we're going to be in the middle. We're not going to be. We don't really know. We could be in the middle, right? We don't really know what the setup's going to be like. We could just be down an aisle like we were at London Comic Con, right? Which is totally fine. I mean, hey, guys, I mean, I don't care where we're at. We're going to be there. We're going to be there. You'll be able to find us. So like I said, Friday is Star Trek Day. Saturday is going to be
Geeks & Co. The Geeks & Company. You think you're really smart, don't you? Well, I've got a riddle for you and your watchers, if there are any. Are you ready? what is nice to see on the screen, but more satisfying in your hands. No Stan Lee, not boobs. Comic books, which there will be plenty of at Toronto Comic Con 2023 in March. And I will see you, and you, and maybe you, and you, probably there, unless you're full of lies, lies, lies.
Well, that was weird.
Wow. Okay.
Jesus Christ. Been fun, guys. Peace. Who wants my spot on the Geeks and Co? Anyways. Anybody?
Wow.
Anybody
Okay.
want it?
Looks like the podcast was just taken over by the Riddler.
Jesus.
Oh,
Web,
yes.
son.
Oh.
It looks like the Riddler is going to be making an appearance.
It's vaguely threatening.
Whoever that guy is needs some counseling.
I mean, he said boobs. So
I mean, yeah,
thought
he had me
Yeah.
at boobs. No. I was on board with boobs, and then it was off. Everything was downhill from boobs for sure.
got my attention. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, so it should be an interesting time to say the least. Cutie,
Yes.
Go ahead and
tonight.
follow that up, Cutie. Good luck. Bye.
Yeah, tonight.
Um,
We're gonna try not to get eaten or murdered by some psycho riddling killers here. Let's talk some cosplay, right? I mean, I know we talk about a lot of cosplay on this show because we're all fucking cosplayers. So what else do you expect?
right?
You like to cosplay on a budget.
I love to cosplay on a budget.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of your thing now. I mean, you've done some bigger cosplays. Obviously, your hot girl. I mean, that's wicked. That's not a budget cosplay. Well,
It was a budget cosplay, but I decided to go past my budget because I didn't want to make wings. They scared me.
well, fair enough. So how do you decide, like, when you're going to make a cosplay? Is there a conscious decision of, okay, this is just something I'm going to put together quick, and this is something I want to put way more time in? And then do you physically say, okay, I'm only going to put this kind of money or no money, in this because it's just for fun? Or how do you go about doing all that? What's the train of thought?
Pretty much exactly how you broke it down. Because I am a content creator and I do cosplay essentially as my job. I make a ton of costumes in a year, and I have very few Comic-Cons that I actually attend where I am in cosplay. So for me, I don't want to spend a ton of money on a ton of different costumes and not ever wear them. So I will look at it and go, okay, well, I want to do this. It sounds really cool. But if I want to make it from scratch without finding reusable materials or things like that, it's going to cost me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Well, I'm not going to be able to make the 70 to 80 costumes I make in a year if I'm spending $100+ per costume. So generally I'll try and narrow it down. So which way? That way. So the Krista that's on my banner, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to wear her to a convention because it's Krista and barely anybody knows Ferngully. So it's I just thought it would be super fun, and it went with the theme I was doing that year. So all I did is I went to Value Village and found a t-shirt dress, and I found a different stretch material too, and I made it into that costume. So it cost me less than $15 to make because I was like, I'm only going to wear it for photos. It has to have the 4-foot rule. It looks good from a distance. Nailed it. And then I can throw it in a bag and move on. So it's really trying to find small items or costumes that you can pull other things from. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does, but let's be honest. You don't go out shopping for all your cosplays. I feel like with the speed at which you put out cosplays, you have to have a lot of that stuff on hand to begin with, whether it's an older cosplayer or whatnot, right? What is that?
Honestly, I'm really bad at reusing stuff. Past year, I actually did really good with it. Usually, I don't reuse anything for my costumes to make new costumes. It's very rare for me because I generally sell them after as a whole. So I don't want to piece them apart and then have pieces that I'll never use. So again, like right now, I'm working on Disney villains. That's going to be my goal for myself this year, is to create as many fun Disney villains as I want. Well, I don't have the fabric on hand for the first one I want to do, which is Jafar. And so I went to Bianca Moore. I don't know. Do you guys have Bianca's in Toronto?
I don't
So it's
think
like
so.
a liquidation place. It smells terrible in there, but it's like I get curtains. So I go and I buy curtains, and like, look at me having stuff prepared. Be proud of me. But like I'll buy a curtain panel. It's $9. So this curtain will make all of the pieces of Jafar that I need. And then for the sleeves, I went and bought a panel that's $5. And so the clear sleeves of the Jafar, that will make the red cape. And I have a black curtain, the same thing. So everything is very, very low budget because curtains are amazing. Sheets are amazing. Like
And
that's
it's
how
funny because you can usually buy curtains for cheaper than what you would buy fabric, which is
These-
silly.
Well, and that's the thing, is these are suede. So it's not even like a low quality fabric. It feels nice on the skin. It's not scratchy or irritated because I have like issues with certain textiles and stuff. So I really have to like look for something that's not going to bug me. But yeah, curtains are amazing. Value Village, go to the curtains and sheets first. Always. Always. And like the king size one will make a mock-up for a costume and maybe 4 different costumes for like $3. And then if you want to build it out of something more expensive, you have a pre-made mock-up that costs you nearly nothing and it fits to you like a glove.
Freakish was just saying here, aprons and curtains are amazing resources people don't think of. Thanks for spreading the word. The word. I mean, at least it's not like she's revealing some sort of a secret. And now you won't be able to find curtains in store because everybody's gonna rush to buy curtains to build costumes. Because let's be honest, there's not enough people watching our show.
Well, and that's the thing too, is
But,
like honestly, like the liquidation stores, they're cheaper than Value Village half the time. So you can go buy a brand new curtain for the same amount you would at Value Village, and they're lined. So essentially, you get 2 different like pieces of fabric for the price of one.
That is a great tip. I'm kind of thinking, why didn't we ever think of that? We've been scouring Value Villages before looking for that kind of stuff, and that's a great tip. Yeah.
Yeah, I distinctively remember trying to find black fabric for my Revan cloak. And actually it wasn't even for my Revan cloak back then. We were trying to do another costume before that. And it's the cloak I ended up using for my Revan. But anyway, we ended up buying curtains, but from Value Village. Because that's where we ended up at Value Village, and we're like, oh, it's curtains. Okay, let's get that. We should have just went straight to the store and bought curtains. I don't know why we didn't do that in the first place.
It's the same thing like with fake fur, like any fur accessories on my costumes. There's one, like the only one that I ever bought like brand new fur was my like Arcanine Growlithe, which is also on my banner. Shocking. But everything else is buying like the fake blankets, like the faux fur blankets, things like that, because you get more bang for your buck, and you get also a lining plus your actual material. So when I did Beastly from Care Bears last year, it's a blanket, and I was able to just make it into the bodysuit and wear it, and it was super cheap versus me going to buy the fake fur to do it.
Great idea.
Hey, Jeff, what's the score?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Right here.
What's the
actually
score?
wondering. I'm trying to figure. I can't share the comments over onto the screen like you do. So
Really?
you must have permissions that I don't have.
But
so
I
can
gave
see
you
them.
permission.
Well, I don't know. It's not. What are you? I can see them in the chat window, but there's no way for me to. Are you dragging? No, that's. I
wonder if you're maybe not logged in is the problem.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Set up as an admin, so you should be able. If you want, like, what are you? Yes, there we go. Yes, faux fur jackets are also great. The problem with even faux fur jackets is they're getting harder and harder to find. It's just not in style, right? So, they're very, very hard to find. And the real fur jackets, well, people tend to stash them and not sell them just because,
Yeah.
People are kind of weird about selling real fur these days.
But like, I don't know about you guys in Toronto, because again, I'm in Alberta, but when it comes to like thrift stores, Goodwill is way better than Value Village here. Because they do the like deals. So it's like red tags are $5 or whatever. Like they'll switch up their sales. So if you go every couple of days, there's a new sale price on certain ticketed items. So it makes it way cheaper then as well.
Sounds like you live near a Value Village.
I live near everything.
Yeah. You're talking about reliable cosplay stores. So that's one of the points that you had put on our list. Yes, guys, we try to be prepared a little bit for these shows. What kind of stores? Like, we don't have any reliable cosplay stores. Like, there's one that I know of. Well, no, you guys have Red Moon, don't you?
We do have Red Moon Cosplay
Yeah, that's
Solutions
right.
based here locally in Edmonton. And honestly, they've saved my butt a couple of times when I can't find foam anywhere. I can go and drive and pick it up. Like, I don't have to wait for shipping. I don't have to do anything. They get back to you right away. It's super nice. They'll send you an invoice. You can pay directly through PayPal. Like, really easy and amazing people to work with.
Nice.
Yeah, we don't really have anything like that around here. We've got cosplaySupplies.ca, which are out in like Mississauga, like almost bordering Oakville.
Yeah.
Which, especially for us on the East End, is it's just too far to go and drive and pick up some supplies. But you have to make it a road trip, right? And you're gonna go out there and you're gonna go get this and you're gonna get because it's just too far.
Yeah,
we've
because
got
like
a
for
place-
thermoplastics. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say for thermoplastics and stuff like that, we don't have a lot of stuff locally. So if you do want to order, I generally order from cosplaysupplies.com. And it's free shipping on the Warbler, so which makes it even better. And their price point is fantastic. So I order it from there and it comes within like 5 to 6 business days. It's really fast as well.
So I know you probably, with the amount of cosplay that you make in a year, you have to have some sort of way, not just to keep track of what you're spending, but planning how you're gonna.
Have you guys heard of the app that I use? Let me see. I'm just gonna like pull it.
Well,
up
what's
here.
it called?
It's called Cos Planner.
I do have
what?
that app. I never use
Really?
it, but I have it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you hold, please. Let me just shut off notifications.
How have I
so they
not
don't
ever
pop
heard
up
of
on my
this?
screen. How have you not heard of it? I'm confused.
Cos Planner.
Yeah, so Cos Planner is a great way to actually like get all of your stuff in one spot. You can do budgeting and everything like that. So like this is my last year's cosplay list that I did. All of these have been completed since last year. It's hard to see there.
Wow.
But
I use it as well. I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So it lets you break down the
Mhm.
costume itself. So you say what you're going to do, and then you can list the different items that you're going to be needing for that particular costume. You can put it if you're making it, if you're buying it, you can put what your budget is for it, and then you can put a check mark beside it once you've got it done, and then it will give you an overall cost that you've spent in total on the entirety of the costume, piece by piece by piece. And it will kind of give you that checkbox for each individual piece you're looking to. Is it a subscription app? No,
it's free.
Yeah,
it is free.
Yep, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So the other cool thing is like everything that Jeff said is correct, except no. You can also put in there the hours that you work on a costume. So the people who enter costume contests, if they have like a build book or things like that that they want to keep track of but don't have time to write down notes, you can do it all in the app. So then when you go to make your build book, you can go back, you can read through it all, you can fill it out online, whatever you have to do. You can even put reference pictures. You can add everything and anything into that app. It is so good.
Yeah, I'm going to download that.
Yeah, Steve was just saying, it takes him 2 months to make his stilts for his Groot. I never even thought of, I try to somewhat think of how many hours I would spend, for example, building this. But there's no real way for me to actually know how many hours I've actually. But I could if I had logged all those hours in there.
Yeah, like when I did my Snow White armor for Edmonton Expo last year, I wanted to actually keep track of how long it took me because I get asked like I do a lot of fast cosplays, but how long do I actually put working on like a bigger build? And so I was like shin pieces and I put it in and then I put the progress photos as I was going. Like I was really able to keep track of everything and keep myself on budget, because you can put like how much you want on materials, how much you want on like thermoplastics, accessories, notions, like all of those things in there. So it's really worth it, and it's free. It's like a cosplayer's dream. The only suggestion I have when you do this is don't overwhelm yourself, because you can throw in every single cosplay you ever want to do in a lifetime in that app, but it's overwhelming because you'll see all of these cosplays that are like not complete and you get discouraged. So for myself, I only actually add in 5 cosplays at a time. And as I'm done one, I add another one. So I always have 5 in there that I'm working on or want to do, just so then I don't get overwhelmed.
But I mean, I'm sure with the speed at which you put cosplays out, you probably work on more than 5 cosplays at a time.
Honestly, I get hyper fixated on stuff. So generally, nobody would know that. Generally, I try to finish like one, but if I get frustrated, then I'll move on to something else. But I find if I try and take on too much at once, I'll never complete anything. And I've learned that really like early on in my whole like job, was I was like, I have like 36 in the closet and I haven't completed one this year. Like, and it was like simple things to finish. So it was just silly not to, but I was more excited about a new project. So again, I try only adding 5, finish one, add another one, go from there.
Because especially for you, let's be honest, I mean, cosplay has become a business for you, right? I mean, cosplay is your content for what you make a living out of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm assuming this app lets you not only track what you're building and all that stuff, but, you know, financially you have a good idea of, well, I'm making this kind of money, and this is how much I've actually spent to make this kind of money, right? Like you're able to do those things now.
Absolutely. And like I said, with doing things like the curtains and things like that, if I budget, say, like $30, $40 for one cosplay and realize I only spent 7, then I'm able to put that budget into a bigger build, one that I've wanted to build but don't have or don't think I can afford because I want to do all these other ones in the year. So it's nice to be able to see that I can spend less and still make a good cosplay and move that budget onto something bigger.
How do you end up picking? You've done... I think we've asked you once how many you've done, and I don't even know if you can even count at this point. So, I mean, if I took every single cosplay I've ever wanted to do and every fandom I've ever watched, I would have run out ages ago based on the pace that you're doing. So how do you pick? Because for me, there's got to be some level of a personal connection or whatever. How in the hell? What?
Honestly, it's the same thing. I went through a stage where I watched My Hero Academia, and I cosplayed 6 of the characters in that year because I really liked the anime. Then there's some where I'm like, you know what? This just came out, a new movie happened, a new appearance in a comic, something like that, which are ones that I don't put a lot of time into because I know I'm just doing it to kind of stay with the trends. So I kind of pick it that way as well. But a lot of mine are based on passion. Like it's, you know, the drive to try something new, to push my skill level, to see if I can create like my childhood cartoons in like one shot. I love mashups. Mashups have always been something that I love because it's a character I really, really like done in a different form. So it gives you the variety to kind of be like, okay, well, everybody knows my comfort characters are Snow White and Wonder Woman. Google Snow White mashups. You're going to get like 30,000 things. And so it's nice to look at those and be like, okay, well, that's a really cool idea. I'm going to do that because I love this character so much that I know I have supplies at home that are in her basic color range. I can probably make this happen for really cheap.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because you would have to, with the amount of, you don't have a choice but to cosplay on a budget, even though this is your living. But with the amount of costumes, do you know for 2022 how many total costumes you ended up making?
I did a rough estimate before this, and I ended up with 165.
Get the fuck off of my screen.
And maybe a few more.
Okay, that's almost one every other day. Like that.
Oh my
ridiculous. God. So this is you did 160. If someone sat me down with a gun to my head and a book and said list 167 characters you want to cosplay, I wouldn't get halfway down that list before I'd be like, I don't know anybody else, man. I've run out. So you really must have to keep a really broad range of fandoms, especially when you're saying when you're getting into some of the more trendy stuff that maybe you're not super passionate about, but you're trying to keep up with the trends. You have to be, I know there's such a huge amount of anime out there that probably helps. There we go.
And body
Sharing
paint.
some pictures, by the way, of some
Yeah.
of Cutie's cosplays on the screen now while we're talking.
Yeah, I find that you guys also have to remember, like I've said this before on here, that I do like my 13 days of Halloween, my 12 days of Christmas. I do clusters of costumes too. So a lot of times, like that's not even including my regular content for that month. That's just for those seasonal things. So it does add up really quick.
Yeah, I love how you're trying to explain it. Like we would all of a sudden be on board. Like 165 is a reasonable number. Oh yeah, because she does the 12 here and the 13 there, and that's not even counting these ones.
Totally
over
makes
here.
sense.
Guys,
That
it's
makes
totally
it
manageable
easier,
to
yeah.
do a costume every other day. Are you
Just
out of
use
your
the app.
fucking mind?
Just use the app. That's all.
Essentially, yeah, you're about 3 costumes a week nonstop for the entire year. That is the most I mean, it is what you're doing for a living, right? Like you do not have a full-time gig on top of this. This is your full-time gig, right?
Yes, but you also have to remember that you guys, like, your definition of what my cosplays are not necessarily the definition that I always use too, because I lump in my like boudoir shoots and I lump in those things too that are character based. So those are, in my opinion, still cosplay, because it's like the battle of like is sexy cosplay. Yes, I'm cosplaying as the character, but in a lingerie outfit or a burlesque number or something like that. It's still cosplay. So not all of them are actual costumes. There is the boudoir aspect as well.
No, but you're modifying the boudoir stuff so that you're still cosplaying a character, correct? You're
Yes.
not just wearing a bra and panties and I'm calling this a cosplay. Like there is still like a theme
I always
that
have
you're
something.
doing.
Yeah,
That's what I
for
mean.
sure.
So there's still a level of, it's still 165, which I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sexy cosplay is cosplay. I've always said cosplay is for everyone and anything is cosplay as long as you're not hurting anybody. It doesn't matter how you're doing it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
whatever. Yeah.
Which is why I sum it into that. Like if I would have divided the boudoir versus just like actual costumes, the number would be less. I mean, it'd still add up to the total, but it still would be
No,
less.
but the boudoir has got to be like an important aspect to your cosplay too, as far
Absolutely.
as driving numbers, as far as driving income sources. That's the boudoir side of it has to be driving a lot of that. So of course you would focus on that. Why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
But you're still mixing up the content and putting out a bunch of cool costumes too, like this one of that nerd that you're getting a picture with by the train tracks there. I don't know who the
Right?
fuck that is, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun little shoot.
Yeah, we've
That
got Living the Dream cosplay here saying, "Hey everyone, sorry I'm late," and then follows it up with group cosplans. I mean, I'm totally up for a group cosplay. I mean, I thought we had already agreed that we're doing a group cosplan without spoiling beans, but you know, hey, that's just me.
I adore her so much. We did an amazing group in Calgary with Hercules, and I did 2 versions of Phil because I wasn't gonna cosplay something normal. We gotta push the limits here. So I did Phil, and for the expo, I had like the goatee, and I had like, it was more femme, but I did the full photo shoot with the bald cap and like the 5 o'clock shadow type thing because
Yeah.
Why not? Why wouldn't you?
right.
Producer Jen says sexy xenomorph.
Yes.
I mean,
Great idea.
Yes.
So, let's
So when are you coming to Ontario again there, cutie?
I'm hoping to come for Fan Expo. It's in the works right now. I don't want to say guaranteed as of yet, but within the next like month, I should have confirmation if I'm actually going or not.
Nice. Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of pictures here of you two
We had a little shoot at,
young bucks together.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. More of you two.
Yeah, of course.
Crazy. This was at Fan Expo, actually, wasn't it?
Yes.
Swedish Chef and Dallas Corbin.
Corbin.
See,
Dallas.
and like that's the thing too.
Corbin
It's
Dallas,
like
sorry.
those are fun costumes. All it is a chef's hat, an apron, and a mustache and a bow tie. Like,
And it was
not-
the best. It's
and it
so
was
good.
Amazing, yeah.
right? Like not everything has to be over the top. And I think that's a lot of the, issues around cosplay too is that I understand people wanting to be screen accurate, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's also the ability to put it in your own twist and do it your way and make it yours, and it's still cosplay. So I love doing things like that, like the Swedish Chef, like the freaking Power Girl. Nobody's ever done Power Girl in a Pride theme.
And pose with a really old Spider-Man.
Right?
Oh, hey, there you go. That's perfect.
Oh, that's
I love
so
it.
boy. Look at that ugly mug.
I love
Holy
it.
cow.
I gotta talk about me like that.
Yeah, it's just
I wasn't
her
talking
eyeball.
about
Settle the
you. I
fuck
was talking
down.
about
Jesus
the
Christ.
weirdo behind you.
Alfred Molina behind you there.
So good.
Now, this for me, this is probably not probably. It is the favorite cosplay that you've put together for me.
Mine
Now,
too.
I want to talk about this piece for a little bit because I like how you used a lot of different mediums for this. I mean, I know for a fact you've got an actual corset there. I know for a fact you had a lot of Warbler. You also had a lot of foam, if I remember correctly, when you
I
built this.
do.
I think a lot of it was built out of foam. And if I remember correctly, your mace was all handmade out of, was it paper mache?
So the mace is actually one of the funniest things I've ever done in my life, and probably one of the most annoying things I've ever done in my life, because I wanted a certain size for the ball, but everywhere I went, I couldn't find one because I'm short. So I didn't want something that was so overpowering and like cartoony, and I didn't want something so small. So the size I wanted was not available anywhere. So I took one of those styrofoam mannequin heads
Mm-hmm.
and I shaved it down into being a ball.
That's pretty genius.
No, it was the most annoying thing I've ever done in my life. But it turned out so good, and I'm so proud of that. And even the handle on that is just from a wrapping paper tube with craft foam glued on it. Like, it's very light, it's not heavy, it's not awkward. It's so good. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I got to say, that's to me, that's budget prop making there. I mean, that's genius.
Mhm.
Thank
Gotta
And the
shave
fact
ahead.
that you were able to get that mace to be so round, you carved that, and it's that round, blows my mind. I can't do anything round. That's
I can't do anything straight, so I mean, it's fine. But at the same time, like I have videos, time-lapse videos of me sitting there shaving it. And luckily I had like one of those hot knife kits. So it's like a foam cutting kit. And it had like one that I was able to like carve, not as a knife, but it's like a Y. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like a Y and it has the wire through it. So it's easier to shave. And so as I was doing it, I actually have cake pans, which I use for like chest cups, boob cups for all my chest plates that fit perfectly. So I would like carve a bit, shove it in there and see if it was round. So that's how I kept it being so round, was using cake pans as my like go-to. Does it fit properly? Is it wiggly?
You have
What
round
direction?
cake pans?
I do.
Like
I got big old
foamy cake
titties.
pans?
Yeah, I got big old titties and I need something to like push the warbler over. So I was like, these fit.
Interesting.
No. Let's explore this train of dialogue and thought a little bit further.
Okay, sure,
here.
go ahead. I'll let you go.
No,
Go ahead.
no. I'm just
Take it
kidding.
away.
The boobies.
It's the boobies.
Boobies.
Yep.
That's hilarious. The chest piece. That's mostly Warbler, right?
Yes. So, fun fact, I suck at making chess pieces. It is one of my biggest like issues that I seem to have, but I refuse to let them defeat me. And I actually got this pattern from Evil Ted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was panicking because every other pattern that I've got has never fit me correctly. I always have to modify it, and it's frustrating. That pattern fit me like a freaking glove. So
You
I
don't
made
have
it.
anybody that can tape you up and pattern you up?
No, I don't. Nobody
No.
who cosplays like I do here. So it's just
Mm.
like, but for that, I made it out of the super thin, like 2mm foam as a mock-up because I was like, I don't want to waste expensive foam. I don't want to do like anything extra if I don't have to. And it fit so good. And now I was like, I don't want to make another mock-up. How do I cover this with Warbler? So it was a little bit of a challenge, but it worked out so nice. Like I am so proud of that piece. Like it's so clean. It's really nice. All those scales on the front are hand cut, individually placed. Like it's a lot of work.
It came out amazing. It really did. Your bracers are also Warbler, right?
Yes, I tried making the majority out of Warbler because I did want to travel with it.
Mhm.
I'm like, this has to last. And I'm not easy on my costumes. I'm a klutz and I will spack into everything and anybody. So I was like, it has to survive me. So I definitely work a lot with thermoplastics on my bigger builds to kind of keep them sturdy and in shape.
Maybe I
So-
should point out for the people that are listening to us on a podcast platform here that we are talking about Cutie's hot girl. And if you want to see her hot girl, go to her Instagram. It's amazing. By far my favorite cosplay. And sorry, Rob, I did not mean to cut you off there, buddy.
No problem. I was just gonna say I've never actually worked with Warbler. How do you get started in that? How does using Warbler work? Real quick.
So there is a couple different thermoplastics. Warbler is not my usual go-to. However, I can't get the other stuff anymore, so I've had to go back to Warbler.
What do you usually
Warbler,
use? Styrene?
what's it called? Cosplay Flex. There we go. So it's like a mixture of Warbler and another thermoplastic. It's a little bit smoother, less like finishing. And I have said many times, I suck at patience and finishing. So I'm like, if I can cut that corner, I'm going to. But so for Warbler, it's essentially activated by heat. So the more you heat it up, the more malleable it's going to be. It gets very hot and you can burn yourself quite easily. So heads up and be careful. But it holds its shape really, really well. So once it's formed, you can reform it if you have to, but it's going to hold that shape. So that breastplate right now is in my closet exactly like that. There's no moving, no shifting, no nothing.
You heat it, you shape it, and it stays in its own shape. And I believe the advantage of Warbler is when it's hot, it'll also stick to itself, right?
Absolutely, which makes
So
it
if you want to
so
layer
much
it,
easier.
you don't need glues or anything. You just get it hot, lay it down, and it'll stick to itself.
So each one
And-
of those scales, are they all cut out of Warbler? Wow.
They are.
Pro tip for any burgeoning Warbler cosplayers, by the way, because it is so rigid, there is zero flexibility in your Warbler anything. So
Yeah.
my comedian armor is Warbler, and it's a touch too wide. So like I literally can't even bring my arms across each other because there's zero flexibility, zero movement, especially if you're looking for something like this or something that's going to cover you front and back. Unless you get the fit perfect, there's no movement inside of it. There's no shaping and forming to your body over time. It's a statue on you. So you really got to make sure that when you're working with it, if you're working with it on this scale, make sure all your measurements are right, deck, double deck, triple check, because once it's on, man, it's easy to work with, but it can be hard to wear. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So the cool thing about it is like what I do for even like that breastplate, once it was covered, I heat it up to the temperature that I can handle, put like a shirt like this on where it's buttoned all the way up, put it on me and hold it there until it's cold. Or I get somebody, or I plug my like hair dryer in and I use cold air over top of it. I hold it in the shapes that I need it to be in, so that way it doesn't have that issue. Fun fact, Edmonton Expo, I tried this on literally the day before I wore it because I was so scared that it was going to break. So I tried it on for the very first time, head to toe, the day before the expo, and realized my shoulders were off. And it's already painted, it's already sealed, and I'm panicking because I have to heat it up. So the nice thing is even though it's already in that condition, if you go from the back side of your armor and you heat it up slowly and just watch, you can reform it and reshape it. So it essentially can be fixed if it is messed up and completely finished. You can still have a mild window of opportunity to fix a mistake.
Interesting.
Well, it's like 5 years old now, so I think we're probably well past that window at this point, but it's fine. We suffer for the art. It's fine.
Absolutely.
I do want to know about those wings though, because I think you were saying you didn't want to make the wings, so you bought them?
I did actually. I found a seller on Etsy, and they were not really expensive, honestly, for what they are, because I am short. I'm 5'2". They stand above my head and they drag on the ground. So I'm in heels in this, and it's touching the ground, like just touching the ground. So they are about $350 with shipping. They weren't terrible. They've went up in price now that the wings have been a fad and a phase and all those other things, but they took forever to come, which is the only downside of it. But it kind of gave me that like, oh, see, I don't have to rush to complete this costume. I can slow down and do it properly because I don't have the main accessory. So for these, they're backpack straps. So they come over my shoulders and they clip under my armpits, and I can get them on and off myself. They're lightweight. I can fold them up and manipulate them and toss them in a trunk. Like, Hands down, I could not have done that. Could
Was
not.
this like a local seller or?
No, that's why it took so long. So these actually came from the Ukraine.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
Now, don't order them now. That might present problems of its own. So
Too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon.
yeah,
soon,
yeah,
too
yeah.
soon.
Too soon. Too now. It's right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, they were amazing. The sellers were super nice. They kept you up to date on everything, all of the shipping. Like, see how long they are?
Yeah, they're like literally touching the ground.
And I'm in heels. So I'm in about probably a 3 to 4 inch wedge heel, and they are touching the ground.
A
This
wing
costume's
project coming
amazing.
up
I
that I
love
want
it.
to
Looks
do.
amazing,
So
yeah.
I might have to look into this as far as Etsy goes. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, honestly, guys, this is like one of my proudest cosplays I've ever done in all of the cosplays that I've done. And I have done a lot. But this one is guaranteed the one that I probably will not stop talking about.
You need to bring this to Fan Expo if you're coming to Fan Expo.
Fun fact, I actually have the wings laying down because they hang on my curtain rod in my living room so that they're
Yeah.
off the floor and out of the way. And I had my suitcase emptied from a photo shoot and I was looking at them going, will they fit?
DC Day at Fan Expo.
Yeah, 100%.
So
yeah.
if they can fit, I will bring this costume.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Hey, if you're bringing that costume, you can hang out at the Geeks & Co booth
Oh, you
all
think
day
that's-
long.
you think
Everybody
that's
will
gonna
want
stop
to take
me?
pictures with you. She's like, do you think when I bring it or not, I'm not going to be hanging out there?
Okay.
I've lost where we were in the questions, but we're still looking at some different cosplays
So
here.
this is the other thing too, is like the Phoenix that you just showed, those are store-bought. So not all my costumes do I make. Some of them are store-bought. So it also helps with doing as many costumes as I do in a year. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't care. I'm like, I want to do the Phoenix. I know it's going to cost me more than it is to buy it. I'm just going to buy it.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep,
That's my attitude for all my costumes.
Jeff's all
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
It's all
Absolutely.
about buying.
Yeah, hey, I got
Um,
more time than money. So I got more money than time. Sorry. Reverse
Yeah.
that. I got more money than time. I can
Yeah.
go get more money. Once the time's gone, the time's gone. I can't get that back.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
and unfortunately, yeah, I'm not in a position, nor will I be in a position where I can do this full time as a gig. So this has to be a little side gig for me. So while I'm working full time and busting my ass, might as well use that money for this cause.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I try to commission people too. I get local people and people in the cosplay community to make stuff for me all the time too. So it still feels like it's a handmade. Now, having said that, I'm waiting on a new Batman cowl coming from the UK right now. It should be shipping any day now. I got some new Star Trek stuff. So yeah, I mean, we've had the buying versus making debate a million times. We're not going to have it here again
No,
today.
we don't. There's-
But yeah,
Like,
it's good to know that, like, this is like, if you're on the fence about whether or not it's cool to buy, you've got a professional cosplayer telling you it's okay to buy your shit. So
Totally cool to
Absolutely.
buy.
it's okay to buy your shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I don't sew, right? So when I was doing a Star Trek Changing World cosplay, I wasn't about to go make one or have somebody make one for me, right? So I just ordered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
It always makes me giggle when people are like, oh my God, that looks so great. I'm like, yeah, I got it from this site. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, all you have to do is just do your research, look, watch for the deals and the sales, because there's so many, like Black Friday sales, things like that. You get cosplay for super cheap. So if you're really set on a character, check those websites, watch their sales. You'll get it for a decent price, and they're usually really good quality.
yeah, I was very surprised, actually. It's funny you say that. I was very surprised when I saw my Strange New World outfit show up. And the quality that it was and how nice it looked. I was like, oh wow, like this, what? A store-bought cosplay that was this cheap? It's this nice? So yeah.
What site again was that? Cosplaysupplies.com?
No, I ordered that one from Kazicon, KaziconCosplay.com or something like that. I think Jeff is the one that put me onto this website.
Yeah.
Ms. Chantel had forwarded that to me, and then I forwarded that to you, and around there we go for sure. Yeah.
So I was very impressed, and the stuff that they have on their site is unbelievable. Like the amount of stuff that I don't even know what it is. Like the amount of anime stuff that I have no clue about is ridiculous. Like if you're into cosplays and you don't have the time to start making stuff, just if you can buy it, buy it. Like it doesn't matter. As long as you're having fun with it, that's really all that matters. It doesn't have to be a business that Cutie has, even if you just want to dress up and go have fun at the cons, just do it.
The
Absolutely.
only ones that will judge you are other cosplayers. No
Yeah.
fan of any genre
100%.
will ever. They won't even know if it's made or if it's store bought. They just love what you're doing. They could give
Absolutely.
a shit. So
So this
Yeah.
is super funny. You want to talk about low budget cosplay? This costume is made out of an old bra, 2mm foam with googly eyes for the rivets and stuff on all of the armor,
hey
and a
man, googly eyes
strap.
make good rivets. So don't.
You have no idea.
I do have some idea. Absolutely. Yeah.
My favorite is the fact that I can go like this and it's just like it just shakes. It's so much
Sorry.
fun.
How do you do it? What is it you do? All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're
Go ahead.
welcome.
Yep.
But yeah, so like that whole costume was like it cost me nothing. And then the most expensive was the body paint. And then the Leiku, I actually made myself as well. And I just bought a pattern.
What did you make them out of?
I went on Etsy and I got the pattern. They have like 3 different ones. The one that I found was using like stretch fabric and this like really thin foam stuff you can get for like oven mitts and stuff like that. So it worked out really good.
They look awesome.
The most annoying part was I was really not on top of my game and I like made it and then I was like, I have to paint it. And so I ended up having to put the patterns on the Leiku as it was already sewn together versus laying it out flat and painting it and then putting it together.
Oh, you painted the pattern on. Oh boy, and you had to do that after the fact. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's not very heavy. It's really light and it's all elastic and stretchy. So it's perfect. And then at the tips of it, I just threw in some rice just to kind of weigh it down. So it laid perfectly on my back. But yeah, this whole thing is all just scrap foam pieces and a piece of loincloth and underwear that I was like, we can't show my butt because it says like punish me or something on it. It was so stupid.
Of course it does.
I was like, I show up in these like black underwear. I was like, yeah, they're like, they're fully black. And then she's like, no, they're not. I'm like, oh, damn it. So,
we're not here to kink shame Cutie. It's fine.
I'm not ashamed. I was just like, I felt bad for her because I was like, at least I have a loincloth, right? And she's like, not on the back. And I was like, oh dear. So yeah. And this one,
this shredder is amazing.
Yeah, I love this shredder.
Yeah.
So this was my first time ever working with Warbler. I was massively like panicking over it. But those shoulder pads are made out of knee pads from Dollarama.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I hadn't noticed until just a second ago. I realized what they were just before you said that.
Yeah, because I was like, how am I going to do shoulder pads? I didn't know how to form things properly. I'd never really worked with the material. I wanted something that was going to be, easy. And so yeah, they're just shoulder pads. And then that helmet is hot garbage. I'm so glad I'm better at helmets. But again, it was pre-patterned on a mannequin head and it's 2mm foam. So it's like the tiniest thing. It's sweaty as all hell, but it just like slid on and off my fat head. So I was like, here we go. That was my most expensive cosplay.
So let's tell everybody who's listening maybe what this is and what the inspiration was behind this.
Okay, so because I do my 13 looks for Halloween, I love Nightmare Before Christmas. But like I said, my comfort character is Snow White or Wonder Woman. And I was like, let's make Snow White into Sally. And so I had bought this fabric throughout the year. So I had started this journey like in January, trying to find this fabric to make it. So finding apple fabric, finding Snow White fabric, finding different yellows and everything to make a patchwork dress. So each one of those is individually cut and sewn on. And it was probably one of the hardest cosplays that I've done for a Halloween project ever. And it was expensive because all of those fabrics I had to buy. I couldn't thrift. So it was pretty expensive.
Do you remember how many different different patterns of fabric that you've used?
I believe on the skirt there was 8, but I only used like 6 because some of them were too close to the other material once I lined them all up because I didn't take pictures with me when I went and bought fabric. I just seen something yellow and was like, that's really cool. And then the bodice is 2 different fabrics. And then the cape is 2 different fabrics, but the cape is actually a double-sided curtain that's like really fancy and like crazy. So I was able to like use that. So it's 2 different patterns on the cape as well.
Oh,
and then the wig, did you notice the wig? It's 100% made out of yarn.
Is it really?
100% made out of yarn. And that has been a feat. I cannot believe I did that.
This was just last year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So you still have this whole outfit, wig and
I
everything.
absolutely do. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Back to your Swedish chef. I know a lot of people were saying in the comments here. That they actually, let's see here. Here we go. Ali was saying she loves your Swedish chef cutie cosplay or cosplay
Thank
cutie.
you. Yeah, that one was fun. It was a spur of the moment. I had this really crazy idea to make this big batch of macaroni and to be a Swedish chef in it because why not?
Because that's what you do. Because
I
cosplay
love
life.
the Muppets. I love the Muppets. And I was like, why have I not cosplayed a bunch of different Muppets? Like, that just seems like something I should do. And Lord knows, instead of going with like Miss Piggy off the hop, I go with the Swedish chef. So,
Bruce Jen says she remembers you showing the yarn wig progress on IG. You said you made a big batch of macaroni, but I mean, you actually made the macaroni. You just didn't pour like raw macaroni in there.
no. So, it's like 40 pounds of cooked noodles. I didn't add cheese or milk or anything. It's just noodles. And then I used food coloring to color it so it looked like macaroni and cheese. Because I didn't want to have that smell. I probably would still be grossed out today. So yeah, I sat in my kitchen and I started cooking, I think 9 o'clock at night. And I finished at like 2 in the morning, the night before the shoot, making all of this macaroni. Yeah.
The choices we
suffer
make
for
in
the
life.
art.
You suffer for the art, correct.
Another
And
thing
now
you
I
can
want
get a
mac
deal
and
on.
cheese. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's a lot of macaroni. That's a lot of macaroni.
Yeah, so when it comes to the macaroni, if you want to see like the full breakdown of like setting up this whole thing, I do have a TikTok where it shows you exactly how much macaroni, exactly how many buckets it was to fill that kiddie pool. Like everything is on there. It's a video. And same with the yarn wig. I have one on there as well, showing a time lapse of me making this freaking wig.
Tanith is asking you how much you spent on macaroni.
Probably
So-
more than she spent on the costume, I'm willing to bet.
Yeah.
Cosplay on a budget, except when it comes to buying macaroni. Then I'm dropping fucking boop, boop, boop.
Yeah.
Price matching.
So the really cool thing about projects like these is I have such a good support system and good following that I generally do things like Ko-Fi donations. So what it is you can donate to the cause. I'll be like, hey, I want to do this really messed up shoot. If you donate a certain amount, you'll get a free digital print at the end of it. If you donate even more, you'll get like there's a reward system for helping me actually bring some of these silly things to life because it is expensive. Like I went and bought 3 cases of like restaurant size macaroni and I think it ended up like $98 just for macaroni for a half an hour shoot just to get rid of the next day. Like it's a
That you're
lot.
just gonna throw out, right? You're just gonna throw in the garbage.
The entire nation of Italy just started weeping uncontrollably.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do things like that. And it's really nice because I do have a lot of people who want to see me bring these silly things to life. And then they get amazing rewards for it. So
Hell
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. This is probably my second favorite cosplay of yours.
do you know who it is?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
Same. Samesies. It must be an anime thing.
From How to
It's not an anime
Train Your
thing?
Dragon.
No, okay. So this is Vipra from Power Rangers.
Well, that's
Oh,
before.
yeah,
That's
I
after
didn't-
my
that's-
time.
That's after our
unfortunately.
time. We're old.
Yeah.
We're
So
old AF.
Need Robbie
I
for that.
got I got invited as a guest to Ranger Station in Philly, and I wanted to bring a fun villain because I love me some Power Rangers, but I love me some villains more. I think their costumes are crazy. So this is 100% made out of foam. The wings I bought, again, I can't take credit for them because I wanted something sturdy to travel. The only piece on there out of Warbler is the headpiece so that it wouldn't break during transit, but everything else is made out of foam. The leggings are from Value Village and the top as well.
Yeah,
Bananas.
I love this. I mean, I'm a sucker for wing cosplays, but
Right.
this one, I don't know. I'm an armor guy, so I make cosplay armor. So this is amazing to me. Producer Jen again is saying you need to do a Cocker Spaniel with Spaghetti Lady in the Tramp style next.
Yes.
Food for thought.
I'ma
food
do
for
it.
thought.
I'm gonna do it. It'll
Noah's
happen.
saying foam represent. I mean, I
Yeah.
think we're all foam lovers here.
I am not. So when any
Oh, really?
I struggle with foam, but again, it's something that I refuse to let defeat me. So I always try, like, and if it doesn't work, I cover it with Warbler and make it the way I know how. So even with these, like the boob cups, they're held on with Velcro. So I could just like peel them off and they're individually like free floating.
Yeah.
But to get them to form, that's what my cake pan's for. That literally is my cake pan. I was able to heat the foam up and just
Mhm.
and it makes the perfect shape. But I do struggle with foam a lot. So I'm happy when something like this comes to life and it's like really, in my opinion, well done for the amount of struggle that it gives me.
You would never be able to tell that you have a problem and a struggle with foam because your foam work is just as good as anybody else's, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you.
Definitely. Let me go back to my notes here. Actually, you know what? I want to find out a little bit because we've been on now for an hour, and I want to find out a little bit about how do you go from I'm making a costume to this is a piece of content that I'm publishing on TikTok or on Instagram, or like, is there a thought process of, I mean, there has to be a thought process of when I'm doing something, this is the end result that I'm looking for. This is what I want to do with it. What does that look like? That rainbow of thoughts.
Well, for me, like I said, this is what I do basically full time. So everything I do has to be seen somewhere. 90% of the time, it's mainly on Instagram. But I have to make sure if I'm doing things like TikTok, it's things that I can move in or things that, are going to fall off of me. Because there are some costumes where I'm like, I can only stand like this and that's it. So it's really what I want to, on which platform is going to do better. TikTok doesn't like all of my stuff all the time. So I generally focus more on Instagram based. And then the boudoir and things like that too. Like I can't post all of that on TikTok or any other platform without getting a little bit of chaos. So I generally will focus more on Instagram. So a lot of my stuff is generally mindset is it's going to be posted, make it worth it. If it can only be shot from one angle, I've had many a costume where it's just a front. Don't turn me around. Don't do it. So even like my 12 Days of Christmas, I did a Christmas tree dress and it's made out of garland. And the back is not there. So it's all front pictures. And I'm like, you know what?
That's the perfect example of a costume that's made specifically for that one shot that you're looking for that post on Instagram. So I'm sure you do a lot of that. You have to for the amount of stuff.
Some of them, yes. It's mainly like the ones that are like my cluster days. So like the 13 days of Halloween or the 12 days of Christmas. It's generally based on just for the image because if you notice, I share one a day. Whereas normally on my feed, I share a couple photos of each of the costumes throughout a couple of days. So when it's my cluster days, as long as I get 3 good images, I'm good. So my Jack Skellington that I did, I'm wearing a Santa suit, my head's tucked under, and I have a balloon stuck in my hair as his head out of my like coat. So I look taller and have like this skinny, scrawny neck. Like these don't have to be perfect because they're just for posting.
Right. Noah kind of has a perfect follow-up question to what I was just asking. Is content value the first thing you think of, or does I want to make this specific character or prop what comes first, or maybe a mix of them?
Honestly, what comes first is what I want to do. Nobody asked for the Swedish chef, but you're welcome. I do a lot of things where I'm just like, you know what? I think people expect me to do crazy from now on. They don't expect me to do normal. So I do what I love first, and I'm going to post it regardless of what anybody has to say about it, or if they think it's not acceptable, or I shouldn't be doing it, or I should up my game, or any of those things. That doesn't matter. I've based my whole existence on me, not around everybody else. And so that's the way I live my life. That's the way I do everything. If you've met me, you know me. It's about me. Thank you for loving my stuff, and I appreciate every single person who does, but I'm doing it because I love it.
Yeah, I think that's a good motto. Yeah, I think that's a good motto, and it definitely shows. And I mean, I think it's what everybody should live by, right? Like, it's great to want to do things because you want it to get popular, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to do what you like to do.
Well, I have
Uh,
a perfect example actually. So, like I seen in the chat, somebody asked if I ever get requests. I do get requests, and the way I address that is I'll add anything to my wish list. You want me to do something? Help me do it. I'm not going to do it if I don't want to do it. If you want to see me do it, help me make it happen. And I've had people who've done it, and I'm like, do I have to?
Jeff, not an open door policy.
I
Yeah,
how you
that's
say,
credit
sir.
card.
I have several requests, starting with Barbarella and ending with Barbarella.
Yes,
Kofi.com.
There you go.
absolutely.
Well, that's a
Absolutely.
good. Actually, that's a good time to maybe go that way because we've been on for over an hour, so it's time to shut her down. Cutie, where can people find you? Where can they donate? List out your socials. This is the time and place.
So I generally try to keep it as simple as possible. Canadian Comic Cutie. If you Google me, I'm sorry. First thing I'm going to say. I also have my Instagram's my main platform, is where everybody reaches out to me. I do answer my DMs. It may not be right away, but I do always answer my DMs. You can find me on Ko-Fi, where you can help support my new creations. You can also become a member, where you get to see behind the scenes of every build that I do, the behind the scenes of the photo shoots, things like that I don't really post publicly. So you kind of get an insight of just cosplay. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me, just Google me.
Canadian Comic Cutie everywhere.
Absolutely.
Everywhere. Well, thanks for coming back. It's always amazing
Thanks
to
for
have you
having
on.
me.
We're gonna definitely have you on some more. You know we will. Mr. Rob the Bad Guy. Thanks for providing some entertainment tonight. People were a little shocked earlier, but that's okay because that's what we do.
I'm glad somebody got a laugh out of it.
Yes, yes, yes. Why don't you let everybody know where to find you?
Me,
Even though it's right on screen.
Yeah, mostly just on Instagram, and you can find me at Rob the Bad Guy.
Well, and on YouTube at Geeks and
Oh
Company.
yeah. I also do this thing occasionally with the Geeks and Company, and you can find us on YouTube pretty easily.
Yes. At Geeks and Co on YouTube. Mr. Jeff.
Yeah, you guys already know I accomplish cosplay across all social media. I too am about to start contributing to the Geeks and Company YouTube channel, so you're going to get some grumpy old geek action coming at your way sooner rather than later. I got some thoughts and feelings and some geek stuff. Yeah, a couple of events coming up. As far as we've already talked about March Toronto Comic Con, we've got that. Want to do a big shout out. April 29th is CK Expo. And you probably didn't hear it here first if you're following CK Expo, but I managed to put them and Matthew Taylor together, and now Matt Taylor is going to be a special guest at CK Expo. So very cool.
Oh, wait, is that official now?
That is official now.
So because when last time I spoke to Matt, he didn't want me to talk about it yet because it wasn't official yet.
The CK Expo just announced it on their page this evening. So friend of the podcast, Matt Taylor, is going to be at CK Expo. So April 29th, if you're in the area, it's a great con run by my good friend Rob Bellamy, who we've had on the podcast to talk about that. And then there are some rumblings about a Windsor Con coming around April 1st-ish. So that's still very much in the works. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, lots and lots of exciting stuff coming up, guys. It's that season now, right? So and possibly a May the 4th thing happening here in London. Crazy Mike Cosplay and I are starting to try to kind of put something together right now. So again, if you're in the area, keep that in mind as well. Get your Star Wars on with
we'll
us,
be announcing that as soon as we have some details.
We are meeting with them tomorrow to see if we can secure a venue and
well, you guys are meeting with them.
Yes, my Crazy Mike and myself here in London.
We won't be there. Yeah.
No. You'll be there in spirit. That's all.
Well,
yeah,
you'll be drinking beer. So
yeah, exactly. We'll
be there
tip a few to you. Yeah, we'll FaceTime you in and we'll drink together.
Oh, there you go. That works.
Yeah,
that works. Yeah, guys. I mean, if you're going to be going to CK Expo, go say hi to Matt.
Absolutely.
Let
him know you saw him here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, amazing guy.
Yeah.
So down to earth, so cool to chat with. I mean, yeah, go make sure you go say hi.
Ridiculously good looking.
Yeah, he'll appreciate it. He will really appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think like you said earlier, we already talked about Toronto Comic Con. You can find me personally at JSBelanger1701 on the Instagram, at Geeks and Co everywhere. I think that's going to be it for this week, guys. Any final words?
I have something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, seeing as how we're talking about cosplay on a budget, have you guys ever heard of the cosplay magazine that's like that kid works on too?
No, I didn't know
So,
Kid had a magazine.
So it's called Cosplay Double Double. And the reason I'm
Okay.
bringing this up is all of our conversation and stuff like that. There's actually an article in here about cosplay on a budget that I did.
Nice.
Ah, very cool. Well, let everybody know where they can get the magazine from.
They can look it up on Instagram as Cosplay Double Double magazine, and it is a Canadian run magazine, and submissions are always open. So you just have to follow their page. You can submit to be in the issues, and Kid actually prints all of them as well.
Oh, sweet.
Cool.
Very cool.
Kid
Actually, guys,
Remington, friend of the podcast, which we
Yeah,
have to have on as well, by the way. At some
we
point
have
in
to
the
have
future.
on as well. Maybe just a little quick pitch as well for Can cosplay cards, guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're worth it too.
Yeah, they're in the magazine
There
right
it
there.
is.
There's Kid right there. In a picture from Fan Expo, actually, funny enough. We just posted a bunch of those pictures on the Geeks & Co. page today.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Well, listen, that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you stay geeky. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Boutique Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss an episode.